Hello everyone, back tuning in to today's second video. We've already done the weekend forecast, which you can find. The video to is on the home page and the written version is on the written forecast page, and you get to that via the buttons at the top of the page. This is the April 2016 ENSO update, so we're going to see what's going on in the Pacific Ocean, in the equatorial part of the Pacific Ocean, in terms of ENSO. Of course, we've had the El Nino last year, and into the start of this year, it's fading and weakening. We'll see what the sea surface temperature anomalies are doing in the actual part of the Pacific Ocean in a moment. We'll also have a look at some forecasts as well. See where things are being predicted to go. When we did the update in March, two major points really from that update. The first point was that El Nino was fading, but it was only fading slowly, and the atmosphere and the oceans were still reflecting El Nino. We'll see whether that's still the case this month. And the forecasts were generally trending towards La Nina, towards a cold event for the second half of 2016. As I say, we're going to see where things are going in a moment. But before I go on with all of that, just to say about the ads that Gazo there's links to articles on all the pages. Have a browse through widgets and click through the links if there's any articles that you're interested in. Thanks so much for doing that. There's video ads on most of the pages which open up for content when you watch them. They'll close back up again, and it helps to pay for our website. So let's just review what's going on, or what's gone on over the past few months. So we're going to start off with the cold and warm episodes by season chart from NOAA. You've been getting used to this over the past few updates, where you can see all the ENSO events going back to 1950 with this chart. This is 1950 just here, when there was a cold event going on at La Nina. The latest year that we're in, of course, is 2016, which you can see just here. So this is 2015. El Nino began early in 2015, and it strengthened through the year, of course, became a very, very strong event once it got through to the second half of the year, and that continued into the start of 2016 as well. So we've got a new number in the box, a new red number. It's this one, 2.0 for the tri-monthly period. I think, I'll just check, but I think this is the tri-monthly period of January, February, March, and that tri-monthly period came out at 2.0, very high number again, so strong El Nino condition continued into the start of 2016, most definitely. The last time we had such a high number, we have to scroll a long way back to 1997. Actually, we came out again for that tri-monthly period of January, February, March. We came out above 97, 98. So this is the same tri-monthly period in 1998. So this is January, February, March of 1998. That came out at 1.8. So actually, we have beaten, again, this has been a consistent feature over the past couple of updates that we've been doing. We beat 1998 in 2016 for the tri-monthly period of January, February, March. Now, I'm not sure whether the 2015-2016 El Nino event will be the strongest on record. The previous strongest is 97, 98. It's this year, just here, or these couple of years, just here. I'm not sure if we'll beat that, but it's a very, very close one thing. If we don't beat it, we are going to be, or we have really been on a par with the 97, 98 El Nino event. It's been a super Nino. It's been a record El Nino, and just about the strongest that you can get. Even if we don't quite go over 97, 98, if we don't quite take the record, there's not going to be a huge amount in it by any means, and we can see that by how consistently these numbers now in these boxes are coming out. Not much in it, but coming out ever so slightly above the 97, 98 event. Again, I think over there as well, we also beat 97, 98. Right, let's see what's going on in the equatorial part of the Pacific Ocean now. So that is all what happened at the start of the year. This is where we are right now. So this is the latest sea surface temperature anomaly map from NOAA. Actually we're starting in March. So this is how it looked when we did the last update, if you like. And then we will have a look at the latest. So this is how things look on the 24th of March. Of course, this is the signature for El Nino. It's the warm water that rises up, or warm sea surface temperature anomalies that rise up between Peru in South America over here and in Indonesia, which is over here. When you get these warm orange, red colours rising up across the equatorial part of the Pacific Ocean, that is always the signature for El Nino. That's how things looked on the 24th of March. Quite clearly, we had seen a weakening from how things were earlier in the year in March. Let's see how things look on the latest. This is the very latest from NOAA. This is generated 24th of April. And again, quite clearly, cooling has taken place. So again, we go back to how things were looking in March. That's the signature for El Nino. In April, we actually see a little bit of blue appearing here in the eastern part of the equatorial Pacific. These are colder than average sea surface temperature anomalies. Now, is this the start of La Nina? Is this the start of a cold event? We'll come on to that in a moment. But other parts of the equatorial Pacific Ocean have also cooled down. This is the central part of the equatorial Pacific just here, and again, quite clearly, it has cooled compared to how things were looking in March. So I think all regions of the ENSO region, so all ENSO regions, if you like, have cooled over the past month. And yes, we have got very, very small amounts of blue appearing over in the eastern part of the equatorial Pacific, which is colder than average sea surface temperature anomalies. Is that the start of a cold event? I'm not entirely sure it is at this stage, to be honest. So I'm going to have a look at the SOI. This is the Southern Oscillation Index, and this is reflecting the state of the atmosphere in the Southern Pacific Ocean, between Darwin in Australia and Tahiti in the tropical part of the equatorial Southern Pacific Ocean. So when the SOI, when the Southern Oscillation Index is negative, it's telling you that the atmosphere is reflecting El Nino, basically. So if you get very negative numbers within the SOI index, remember, it is just an index that's reflecting the state of the atmosphere, not driving anything. But when you get a lot of negativity within the SOI, it's telling you that the atmosphere and the oceans are very much connecting up, they're hooking up to create and reflect an El Nino. And to get an El Nino event, you really do need the atmosphere and the oceans to couple up, and one feeds off the other and it all snowballs, and then you get these El Nino events coming along. So when you have a negative SOI, atmosphere and the oceans are reflecting El Nino. To get La Nina, you have to swim the other way, so you have to get the SOI going positive. And we haven't seen any positivity within the SOI at all. So despite that cooling that's taken place over the past month in the equatorial Pacific, hasn't actually been any positive numbers. So we can start here on the 23rd of March, around when we did the last update. We had minus 3.20. And if I just scroll down through the past months worth of numbers, you can see that we just keep negative numbers going. So for example, the 1st of April, April Fool's Day, came out at minus 9.30. Not extreme negativity of the SOI, but certainly enough to be challenging any possibility of a La Nina. We carry on scrolling down, we get to 7th, 8th of March, April, which is just here. So we've got the 8th of April coming out at minus 19, 9th of April coming out at minus 12, 7th of April coming out at minus 18. And again, this is the atmosphere and the oceans reflecting El Nino and keeping El Nino condition going, particularly in terms of the atmospheric setup. And the very latest is, look at this, we've got some very extreme negative numbers appearing once again. So minus 30 on the 15th of April, minus 24 on the 16th of April. And then more recently, 20th of April comes down at minus 45. That's very, very negative. And minus 36 on the 21st of April. That's extreme negativity within the SOI, and whilst you're getting such extreme negativity, you are not going to be able to generate a La Nina. Whilst, because of the time of year, we may find that the sea surface temperature anomalies do cool, and they have cooled over the past month through the Equator-Pacific, we will not go to a cold event whilst we are getting these extreme negative numbers, minus 45, minus 36, minus 30. Those sort of numbers will mean that we cannot get a La Nina, we cannot get a cold event, purely because the atmosphere will fight against. Remember, the SOI isn't important in itself, it's not a driver or anything, but it tells you what the atmosphere is doing. The atmosphere will be fighting against the ocean, and the ocean will not be able to produce a La Nina whilst the atmosphere is in such strong El Nino type setup. So we really have got to start to see this swinging to positive over the next month or two, and it's not impossible that it will do that. At this point in 1998, I think, was getting very extreme negativity within the SOI still, and then within a couple of months we had swung into La Nina. But we've got to see positive numbers appearing, and they've got to get very positive, I would suggest, within the SOI to start to generate La Nina. The atmosphere has got to start to reflect La Nina, which will then couple with the ocean, which wants to go to La Nina. There's a lot of cold sea surface temperature anomalies on the subsurface of the Equator-Pacific, so that wants to come up, but at the moment the atmosphere is fighting against it. And to get La Nina really going, we've got to get the atmosphere and the oceans coupling up. So the SOI will be very, very important to keep an eye on over the next 2 or 3 months. Let's see where the models want to take things. So we're going to have a look at CFS-V2 first of all. Just got to get the resolution right. I think that's about it. So the black line here is telling us where we've been with region 3.4. Actually, this is region Nino region 3. So I'll just very quickly get 3.4 up. And there we go, we've got Nino 3.4 there for you. So again, same idea as all these charts. We've got the temperature anomalies on the side. The dates are along the bottom. The black line here tells us where we've been with ENSO, El Nino. We have been, of course, we know, almost at a record-breaking El Nino event. The black dash line is the trend line within the CFS-V2 ensemble, telling you where things are going to go. So quite clearly we're going to get a crash in the temperature in the Equator-Pacific. I think we can say that that is already taking place. We are already dropping very dramatically from that record-breaking, or we have already dropped very dramatically from that record-breaking El Nino, which took place around there, to something much cooler, and that's going to continue through the rest of the spring and into the start of summer. So that by the time we get through to June, we should be somewhere here. So through the central part of the Equator-Pacific, remember these are in regions, region 3.4 is essentially this part. It's the central part of the Equator-Pacific. So by the time we get there, we should be at this sort of level. So we should certainly be back to neutral. We may even be slightly cooler than average. To get a La Nina, we've got to go below minus 0.5 degrees over 5 tri-monthly periods. And the CFS-V2 does do that. It takes things down into La Nina territory, albeit not a strong La Nina. It's not going down to this sort of level, which would be strong, very strong La Nina. It's going down to sort of weak to moderate type La Nina conditions, which is just this area just here, around 1 Celsius below average, maybe 1.5, gets you towards a moderate La Nina event. But quite interesting with the colours on the ensemble plume as well. These red members of the CFS V2 ensemble are the oldest members. The blue ones are the newest members. So the newest members actually want to have this as a weak La Nina event. What's taking this black dash line so far down into moderate La Nina territory, it makes not a strong La Nina, but what's taking it down to a moderate La Nina is these older members of the CFS V2 ensemble, all these red lines just here. If you was to take those out, the trend line would probably be doing something like that. Actually, if you removed all of these red lines just here, you would probably just have a very weak La Nina, almost borderline neutral perhaps, if you took out those older ensemble members. So whilst it appears that the CFS V2 wants us to go into a moderate La Nina, actually the latest ensemble members probably hinting at something even weaker than that. And I would think the reason the CFS model is backing off a bit from La Nina, or certainly from a moderate La Nina, why it's doing that is probably because the atmosphere, and we saw it through the SOI, is not reflecting a La Nina, is fighting against it, and the model isn't sure whether the cold subsurface temperatures that are there under the surface of the equatorial Pacific, we have got quite extensive cold anomalies. The model isn't sure whether those are going to rise up and plunge us into a cold event, or whether the atmosphere will fight against it and just have us in a weak La Nina event. So very much on a knife edge there as to what's going to happen in terms of La Nina. Region 1 and 2, very similar. This is region 1 and 2 just here. So this is the part of the equatorial Pacific that has actually gone slightly cooler than average. Just here, region 1 and 2, close towards the Peruvian coast. And again, the CFS V2 doing something similar what we see with the central equatorial Pacific forecast. It does go down into a La Nina event by the summer, actually, for region 1 and 2, but then it wants to lift things up a little bit. And again, notice the split between the oldest ensemble members, which are these red ones just here, the newest ensemble members, which are the blue ones, and they barely go into La Nina, they just stay in very weak La Nina or ENSO neutral. So we've got a lot of uncertainty there within the CFS V2 as to whether this is going to be a La Nina or whether it's going to just be neutral to borderline weak La Nina. What about the ECMWF? This is the latest ensemble plume from the ECM model. And again, it's the same idea. Look at this. We've got the drop down that occurs into the summer. So by summer, this is June, July, August, just here. By then, I think the general trend is to take things down to around this sort of territory. So down to around 1 Celsius, cooler than average in the central part of the equatorial Pacific by the summer. But then notice the trend in the second half of the year is to begin to lift things back up again. Interesting. So we do finish up. By the time you get through to the autumn, this is October, November, just here, got a huge split. Some members actually going for El Nino, some members going for a moderate La Nina. Generally, the central part of this is around ENSO neutral. But very, very uncertain here as to what's happening. It looks like we're going to get the drop in temperature. It looks like we're going to go to weak La Nina by the summer. But then quite where things are going after that, very, very uncertain. This is a really uncertain time right now for these models. And then the Jamstech IOD, and that, again, it is seeing things going down into La Nina. So we've got the temperature anomalies on the side, the dates on the bottom. The red line here is the trend line. That's going down by the summer. We are going slightly negative, and that continues in towards the end of the year. This is January 2017 just here. But again, it's not definitive, this. It's only going down just to weak La Nina. Very, very close, actually, to just being ENSO neutral. And there's quite a big split again within these ensemble members. Some of them going down to moderate, La Nina, some of them actually hinting at staying with a weak El Nino by the time you get through to the end of the year. The red line, the trend line, is still going slightly cooler than average, but you wouldn't say that is a definitive signal for La Nina by any means. So it really is a very uncertain time at the moment. I'm not sure which way this is going to go. I think we've got to concentrate on the SOI, excuse me, because that is going to be, that will tell us where things are going. I reckon. So keep an eye on the SOI, the Southern Oscillation Index. You can find a link to that on the links page. Take to the Bureau of Meteorology in Australia. And if an SOI starts to really pick up, then I would suspect these models will respond and they'll start to move back towards La Nina. But at the moment, I think they are generally backing off a little bit from La Nina. And I think the reason they're doing that is because we're still getting such extreme negativity with the SOI, which tells you that the atmosphere is very much still reflecting El Nino in the Equatorial Pacific, and it's fighting against what the ocean wants to do, which I think the ocean does want to go to La Nina, but as long as the atmosphere is fighting rather than coupling, any La Nina, any cold event is going to really struggle. This is important for us because if we don't go to La Nina through this summer, if we just drop down to ENSO neutral, it does increase our possibility of getting a hot summer. And then once we get beyond that, it's important when we get through towards the autumn and winter part of the year, do winter updates. It's always important to see what ENSO is doing. So it is a big player for our weather. So in fact, it's over the other side of the world. It does have impacts on our weather. And talking of summer, we're going to be doing the second summer long-range model roundup tomorrow. We're getting several long-range models together and seeing what they're showing for the summer of 2016. So it'll be very interesting to check that out. But as far as ENSO is concerned, to sum it all up, we are leaving El Nino we're leaving that record-breaking El Nino. We're dropping back certainly to ENSO neutral. We may be in weak La Nina condition by the summer. But will this go towards a big La Nina event? Will it go down into a proper cold event? The models have backed off from it this month. So let's wait and see where things are going when we do next month's update. All right, that's all for now. Thanks for watching.